Hello, welcome to our last rest class. We're going to do a little focus on neck, shoulders, and hips today. They are related, as the song goes. The neck bone's connected to the hip bone. No, that's not how it sounds. But as the saying goes, it's all connected. So we're going to start out with our towel rolled up in this log configuration. If you haven't done it before, it's super simple. You just fold the towel in half lengthwise and then roll it up from short end to short end to make this log. And then put this little towel log back where the head goes, where your head will land. And then find that towel in the curve of the neck. Now, everybody's towel is going to be a different thickness and width and depth and softness and all the rest. But generally speaking, you want to feel comfortable here, like your head is supported. And the back of the head, the back of my head is not touching the floor. That's just fine by me. I'm not uncomfortable here. So you want to sort of assess, given that I don't know exactly your thickness of towel and the tension in the neck and shoulders and all the rest of it. Are you okay here? Hopefully you are. This is a good place to start for you. Make any adjustments you need to if you feel like you're not quite where you need to be. And then let's just take the arms out wide to the side. We've got our yoga blocks handy. We're not going to use them quite yet. They're there. Push them off to the side if they're in the way of your arms. And just enjoy this nice support. Letting the head rest back. The towel is really in the curve of the neck. It's not under the base of the head where we often have it when we want a little support for our laying down posture. And this is because we're going to do a little neck massage here. So take the feet nice and wide to the outside edge of the mat. Let the knees drop together to touch and constructive wrist pose the low body. And what that does is it really lets the low body just get grounded and stable. And then from here, just gently roll the head side to side. And you kind of want to, especially if you have some pressure from the back of the ear or sort of the base of the skull behind the back of the ear through to the collarbone, on top of the shoulder. You want to press into your towel a little bit as you roll side to side. So you're getting a little bit of pressure there on the back of the neck. And enjoy it. Kind of squish around in it. Be a little bit like a cat rolling in some catnip. Really kind of just nuzzle into it so that those muscles can get a little pressure and release as you roll side to side. So I like to roll my head over to one side and then essentially nod my head up and down once I've got that muscle a little pinned underneath it. And that feels pretty good. And then you can roll onto the back of the neck and go side to side and then roll over to the other side and nod your head up and down. So you're kind of on that muscle. But that's pretty good there. And now we're just going to be soft and easy with the head. And let's see, let's take that towel roll. Let's keep it where it is. That's pretty good. And then we're just going to gently swish the knees side to side. Head stays steady in the center to start. So nose is up to the ceiling. Inhale the knees to center. Exhale, drop them over to the side. And this is not trying to drop the knees all the way down to the side. That would be too big a movement to start. Just keep it simple and easy. Very moderate here. Letting the back of the hips relax. Trying to let the muscles in the low back let go a little bit so that the muscles in the shoulders and ribs can let go so that the neck muscles can drop and release a little bit as well. Good. Now we're going to add the head in opposition to the legs. So the next time the legs go to the left, head goes to the right. Inhale, knees and nose to center. Exhale, next time the knees go to the right, the head goes to the left. Inhale, knees and nose to center. Exhale to side. Inhale to center. Exhale to side. Inhale at the center. Two more here. And if you get anything like vertigo or dizziness or have nausea or headache going on, or you feel any of that stuff stimulated here, then either make it smaller, lighter, or just let go of it completely, right? This is stimulating. Some stimulation is not necessarily super positive. Okay, so now we're going to shift the position that the towel roll is in. So we're going to roll over to the side, that's my other side, and come up to seated and just shift this towel roll. You might want to plump it up a little bit. It's pretty plump. This towel roll is fluffier than the last one I had. And place it right at the base of where your shoulder blades land. Lay back. And you may want to be positioning yourself in a way that your hands can access that towel roll so you can kind of straighten it out underneath you. And from here, you're going to interlace the hands at the back of the head. Now, this is a situation where you might be totally comfortable to just drape yourself over the towel, or you might really enjoy having a block for your head to land on. And that block might be a medium height. That'll put you in a gentle cascade from high to low with a big, nice chest opener here in the middle. That's probably the most moderate place you can be, right? So let's all start here together, and then we can get less moderate as your body allows. So my feet are about hip width distance apart again. Knees are separate. They're not falling into touch. Oh, they could. You can make a choice there. That feels good. I want you to take a moment and arch your back. So you let the tailbone drop down into the floor, and you pull the belly up to the ceiling. You let the ribs flare. And then I want you to exhale and soften the low back, tucking the tail. Notice how that elongates the back of the neck. It pushes your weight backwards into the towel, and you get a lot of space and release in the low back. And you get your abs layered in a little bit. This is where we want to be resting. It's really easy in this position because we're already being pushed up by the towel roll through the ribs to just let the belly go and to rock the weight into the tail. And the back muscles tend to be tight, and so they're pretty comfortable being tight, right? But we don't really want to emphasize tight back muscles. So what you want to do is lengthen them. And you do that by tucking the tail and then allowing your back to sort of become like a hammock. So it's what do I say, sagging, because that's not really the right word, but it's draped down towards the floor below the towel, right? Okay, so you checked in here to see how everything's feeling. Maybe you want to hang out here for the duration. Maybe like, no, this is plenty. Thank you very much. Or gosh, I feel great. I don't want to mess with it. That's fine. If you want to go a little bit further, and it is a little bit, but a little bit goes a long way, as they say, take the block down to its low setting. Notice what adjustment that does. And if you go, oh no, that's an indication you should go back to the previous one. If you go, oh yes, then this is a good position for you to be in. And if you go, that's interesting, then that means just hang out with it for a little bit and have some breaths and assess whether you can stay with this for a little while. Maybe it's not like your happy place, but you could hang out here for a bit and your back is not in spasm. That's a really important piece, right? Take one more full deep breath right here. Now this next step is a big one. I have to really assess where you're at. If you feel like your back is already under a lot of load and it doesn't want to bend anymore, then maybe don't even try this, right? If you're already on this low level, and that's enough. And it may be now's the point where you transition back to the higher level. If you're here and you go, yeah, this is pretty good. Oh, I feel like I could stretch more. Then you move that block out from underneath you and you let the head come all the way back. And that is a doozy of a stretch. And it feels really good if you have the mobility to do it. And you have to continue to assert the length and back, tucking the tail, making sure, sort of turning your back into that hammock shape, draping it below the towel so that you're not tightening those low back muscles up. Give yourself two more full deep breaths here. I had a nice yawn. Yawns are great. It's the body's way of releasing tension, their way of getting more oxygen in, and it kind of stretches everything when you do it. So welcome the yawns as they come here at the end of the day. Okay. One more breath right where you are. And then we're going to drop your knees over to one side and sweep an arm. That's let's see, I'm dropping my knees over to the right and I'm sweeping my left arm up and overhead over onto the side. You can do the opposite side and coordinate it. And then push yourself up to seated. And you're going to come to seated on your towel bowl. Grab your blocks now. And we're way back here. 1, 2. And we're going to fold the knees in to a cross-legged position and support the knees. Okay, so there's a couple of things that are important here. First of all, making sure you feel like that towel's settled underneath you and you're settled on it. A little tricky. There we go. Get up on it. And then you want to prop the knees. So I took these blocks and I tipped them in so that the top surface of the block is angled. And I don't have my ankles tucked underneath me. I just have one ankle in front of the other one and find a relatively easy cross-legged seat here. Now that's all relative, right? So, but we're going to take our hands on our knees here and we're going to just kind of stir the torso around the hips. Nice and easy. Let your head be heavy so that it's helping you find some movement. Top of the spine. Ooh. Inhale and exhale. Curve forward. Inhale over to the side. Gaze upwards. Exhale, curve forward. Give yourself one more time around in this direction. The stirring is actually really important. Okay. Next time you come through center, reverse. This gives movement through all the joint systems. You don't have to make it super big. If it starts to feel really good to do and you want to go bigger, you can, but you can keep it pretty small. Just find some ease of movement. So the side movements, you can feel the stretch in the hips. Back movement stretches the chest, and the forward movement stretches the head. But one more time around this direction. Excellent. Kind of land center. Switch the cracks of the legs. You can give them a little stretch in between, and then bring your opposite leg in front. Really important because the leg that's in front gets a different stretch in the hip than the leg that's tucked under. So we want to equalize by giving them both an opportunity to be in that position. We're going to take an inhale and sweep your arms up overhead. And then you're going to exhale, turn and face your right knee, so facing away from you. And then I'm going to bring my fingertips down to the floor. And I'm going to push the floor away. And so I'm framing this right side of my body. Left hand's on the outside of the knee, right hand's kind of back by the hip. And inhale with those fingertips, push yourself up and away. And then exhale, fold forward. And you can walk the hands forward here. I like to keep them wide. And bow the head and chest. So really moving in the opposite direction of those really big chest openers we started with. Give yourself 2 nice deep breaths down here. Inhale, curl your spine, keeping that chin tucked until you get everything else stacked. And then bring the arms up through center. And then exhale, turn and face your left knee. And the hands frame it. Left hands back behind the head, right hands on the outside of the knee. And inhale with the fingertips up and away. And then exhale, fold forward, finding a bend here. Then give yourself a nice full deep breath here. On your next inhale, gently lift yourself up, restack the spine, and come into center. And we're just going to come off of, you can stretch your legs out, come off of this towel roll for moments. Tuck your legs underneath you. I'm going to come to all fours on the blocks. So go ahead and take your blocks up on their medium setting. And in this all fours position, make sure your knees are hip width distance apart. Your hips feel like they're right over the knees. You're going to inhale the arch. And exhale the curl under. Pretty good. Last one here. Stay curled under in your arch. And then you're going to swing your ear and your hip towards each other. So you bring your left ear and left hip towards each other, shortening the waist. And then you inhale through center, exhale. Swing your right ear and right hip towards each other. Kind of like wagging your tail, but including the head. Good. This should give you a nice stretch. Just a little contraction there. Nice. Full deep breaths. One more time. Each side. Good. And finish up. Come to the center. Now you're going to take the blocks and slide them in between your knees, back by the ankles. And you're going to take your towel roll, set it on top of your blocks, so that when you sit back, you have a nice elevated seat here. There we go. Should feel pretty comfortable. So you want no pressure in the knees. The knees feel really nice and light, and ease in the hips sitting here. See if you can find this space. And then from here, you're going to take your hands, interlace them at the back of the head, and you're just going to do a little circle of the head. This is very gentle. I'm not actually pushing on the neck. I'm just using the hands to cradle the back of the head. A little stir here. Good. Next time you come around and back, reverse. Circle. Maybe this time go a little bit bigger, but those two. Good. Next time you come up, you're going to give yourself a little forward fold here, maybe deeper than you did before. And then bring the elbows in towards each other for a big stretch of the shoulders. Rotate towards the left and then open your left elbow up, looking underneath the elbow at the ceiling. Gaze upwards. Inhale back to center, elbows together, and then rotate to the right. Lifting the right elbow up, gazing up. One more time each side. Inhale, center. Both fold in. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale, open. Inhale, come center. Just keep the head where it is. Release the hands. Cup your hands so that you can place the forehead in the palms here. I think you've got a headache or you've had an awful day. It's just the associations. Oh no. Posture. And then let the head be really heavy in the hands. So it's hard to just really release the weight of the head forward. And then use the arms to push the torso upright. Try to neutralize the work in the head and the neck. And then gently keep going. Bring the head back to on top of the shoulders. Just keep the hands there until it really lands. And then just gently shake your head. No, there's not as much tension as there was. We hope, right? We're going to keep stretching the neck. But what's really important is whenever we get in a really extended position with the stretch, that we support the weight of the head on the return so that we're not requiring the muscles of the neck to contract to pick the head back up because the head's heavy. And you know how it is. A great way to throw your back out, if you're ever looking for one, nobody is, but is to have a really overextended back muscle and then to put it under load by trying to pick something heavy up and then yank when that muscle is overextended. And that will pull your back every single time. So what you want to do is make sure that you're not overextending when you reach for something heavy and that you're really lifting your center into the load and that you have as much leverage and support as possible. Same thing, same kind of principle here. And we really want to make sure we don't strain the neck with any of these stretches because it still has to do its job of supporting the head. Immediately, once we return to center, those muscles have to return to their work, but hopefully can do it in a much more relaxed way. So we're going to take the right arm up overhead, make peace fingers here and frame your ear to find the top of the jaw. Left hand is resting on the thigh to help press the thigh away, extend the waist as you lift from the base of the jaw upwards. This top pads of the fingers are lifting the curve of the jaw up. And then as you exhale, bow over. Now, this is not a heavy pull because we don't want to really overstress these muscles. We're just going in a place where we feel a little sensation of lengthening. And then we let the tips of the fingers slide along the side of the head up to the temples. And then encourage the head to drop more. But it's really directional. It's really just helping everything to sort of move in the right direction. And then you're going to take the left arm and slide it open. Oh my goodness, that's a big stretch. And then bring across the body and then slide it open. Now already here, if you want to, you can take your right hand under the head. So some of the weight of the head is already supported, right? Really enjoy. And it's interesting, as soon as you support the weight of the head, you get more range in the shoulder. While this arm is extended, while the left arm is extended out behind you, drop the head down towards the floor and then look up. As long as that doesn't overtax the neck muscle, make sure you're in good range here. Lower the arm or bring it in a little bit. It's too much. And then go ahead and lower that left arm down. Bring it back to the thigh for a little support. Make sure that the head is really resting in the right hand, like it's up below. You can inhale here. And exhale. Drop the left shoulder, even let the arm dangle if that helps. And press the head back to center. Go a little center here. You get those muscles to let go and come up. Rest the arms. Gently shake the head. And see if you notice a difference between the left side of the neck and the right. So how it feels. Maybe there was already a difference, but what you can notice here is any kind of spaciousness, circulation, lightening. It feels like it's airy or not as heavy. That means that you've made a transition in the muscle. Now we'll do the other side. Inhale, take your left arm up overhead. Find your peace fingers here, bring your, slide them down to the jaw, where it comes into the ear, and then lift everything up and away, and then exhale. Find your stretch. Oh, hey, this side's a lot tighter. And then let the fingers slide along the side of the head to the temples. And find that nice stretch. I like to start out without supporting the head, just using the fingers to guide the head into a deeper stretch. So you're going to feel the difference. And then I'm going to take this right arm and I'm going to inhale, open it back behind me, and exhale. Scoop it across. Inhale, palm up and open. Exhale. Inhale, open. And exhale, sweep it across. And then you're going to inhale, leave it open. Now maybe hold the head and see. All of a sudden, I've got better range of motion in my shoulder. So having the head properly supported, which is really low abdominals and pelvic floor, is a huge, and the rib cage, part of shoulder mobility and releasing neck tension. Next time your arm is out, keep it out here, and then you're going to look down towards the floor and then look up to the ceiling. And if you're like, yikes, that's a lot, lower the arm and don't take it as far back behind you. You'll find that's a little bit more manageable. One more. And then let that arm come down, the right arm, and give a moment here for the head to really fall into the left hand. Take an inhale and exhale. Use the hand, not the neck muscles, to bring the head up. Press it past the center here. That really turns the grip off, and you might even feel some of that unhooking happening right where everything comes to the collarbone. I'm going to shake my arm a little bit here and then bring my head back up. Okay. So hopefully now you've got a nice open neck. We're going to do a C7 exercise while we're sitting here. So one hand on the chest, one hand, again with the peace fingers, comes back, doesn't matter which one it is, and finds the little pokey out vertebra, little protrusion back here, that is C7, right where the head, the neck comes into the shoulders. And if you want to really quite set the right one, you'll find it by sticking your chin out and bowing your head forward. And then that protrusion right at the base of the neck, the top of the shoulders, will stick out more. That's C7. Okay. Take an inhale here. Exhale. Pull the chin in towards your Adam's apple. As you lift the head up, feel that C7 dissolve in to the neck. So you basically reintegrated it into the spine. So what happens when you hang your head forward here, it has the ability to glide forward. It's really kind of cool that our spine can do that, because sometimes we need to look at stuff close up. But what ends up happening because of gravity and poor postural support down below, the head often just hangs there. And then you need to bring it back into place and reintegrate the neck into the rest of the spine. And that's one of the reasons you get the pain in the neck back here, because that C7 is not fully integrated into the spine. And if you reach back and put your fingers there, you'll be able to tell whether it's integrated, because you shouldn't feel a protrusion. It should feel smooth from the collarbone into the neck. If you can feel the bony protrusion, you know that the head is slid forward and the chin is released. And the neck is not being integrated or held with the rest of the spine. That means weight distribution can happen. So just gently shake the head, no, and nod it, yes, to finish up that cycle. And then you're gonna flutter your hands here. And this is what this does. Basically, I'll slow it down. turning my palm out and in and out and in, right? But quickly here. And it's shaking the fascia loose along the spiral pattern, kind of chain the arms. Vastly oversimplified, but and then you're going to swing the arms front to back or you sort of flutter them. Okay. And then we're going to do them in opposition. So one arm comes forward and one arm goes back while you flutter them. Coordination game. Good. And that should give you some nice muscle release. And then just let go of the flutter and get some swing. And you'll notice that you kind of naturally come into a little rotation here. And you can go with that. Look, open, to the side, back, you swing to. This is an exaggeration of our walking motion. And slow it down. And that's one of the reasons walking is so beneficial for us. Because it stretches us in spiral opposition. But, okay, so before we come fully down onto the ground here, let's do a little forward fold. Separate the knees, place the hands down on the floor, and stretch your arms up long. Your seat will probably push the towel roll off your blocks. That's fine. And then the seat can sort of stay elevated up on whatever level it is there. Or if you're like, this is silly, I really just want to drop my hips down, you can get the blocks out of the way. But it can be kind of nice actually to elevate them. Keeps the pressure out of the hips and knees a little bit. Give yourself 2 nice deep breaths here. And then inhale, come on up. Get your legs up from underneath you. Go ahead and set your towel roll on your blocks to the side. We're gonna come down, maybe onto your forearms if you're okay with it, and just swish the knees. Actually, you don't have to come down to forearms. Just come all the way down to the floor. I do change my mind sometimes. And just swish your knees gently side to side. Find a little ease of movement in the hips after having sat on them for a bit. And then we're going to do a little side to side movement here. So you're going to take the right toes and you just make an arc. So as you drop the knees over to the left side, the right toes trace an arc as you pull the right knee up and around and into the chest. And then you come back onto your back and you do it with the left. Cross, draw the knee into the chest and just trace on the floor with the foot. Inhale, center, and exhale. Inhale, center, and exhale. Really good for the hips and the low back. Keep it in a range where it feels like this is manageable. It doesn't feel like you're straining anything. So you're keeping it kind of soft, relaxed, and controlled. Nothing too wild here. Good. And then we're going to pause and center. So it's just a little warm up for our muscles here. Get yourself arranged. So feel roughly in parallel position here. And then you're going to stretch the right leg out nice and long. I said right leg. And then I stretched my left leg out. Stretch your left leg out nice and long. And then draw your right knee into your chest. Okay, if it feels like holding the top of the knee is tightening the arms quite a bit, then just slide the hands underneath the knee and relax that way. And then you'll find that the shoulders are much more relaxed. We don't want to do all that work to release the head and neck and then have tight shoulders while we're doing the stretching. Before we go any further, I should say put a towel underneath the head because that will alleviate neck tension here. and allow your ribs to drop into the chest. Okay. And then bring the leg across the body. Now, this is a great place to take a yoga block and prop it underneath your calf, right in the middle of the calf, and rest the leg. If you're somebody who comes into this position, you're like, I can't, my leg's not touching the block, right? Then you just bring the block up to a higher level and try to find a place, a position where you can really give the block the weight of the leg as much as possible, right? You just drop the calf into the block and give yourself some full deep breaths here. Good. If you feel comfortable, a little extra articulation in the neck, turn the upper body away from the lower body so that we're looking over the right shoulder, even as the knees are going to the left. And that will help open up the body. One more full deep breath here. Inhale, gently come back into center. Draw both knees into your chest and come into a little side to side rock. Just making sure nothing's holding on in the hips. Take a moment and place the feet down and assess if you feel a difference side to side. Next, take your block over to the right. Stretch the right leg out long. And draw your left knee into the chest. Remember, if you grab the top of the knee, you need to have a good amount of mobility both in the leg, the hip, and the shoulder. In order for this to not cause a lot of tension, you might just decide to avoid the whole situation together and interlace the hands at the back of the thigh instead of the top of the knee. And then notice if you're able to relax your shoulders more. And with the towel under the head, we should be able to soften the ribs into the body and find a place of relative peace here. Right hand on the knee, left hand out to the side. Inhale. And exhale. Pull the leg across the body, over to the right. Find your block, medium or high, whichever position is good for you to rest the leg into. And in this instance, to start out, just have the head facing the leg. So we're knee is to the right, head is to the right. And take a couple breaths here. Make sure your left arm, which is not to the side behind you, is okay. Through the shoulder. And gently come. Oh, and then we release the leg. And then inhale, gently bring the head over to the left so that it moves in opposition, which will, of course, wrap everything through the whole spine, ribs, chest, neck, head, in opposition to the low body. Give yourself a couple breaths here. Good. Inhale. Gently come back into center. Draw your knees into your chest. Little side to side rock. Easy does it. Okay. Now we're going to place the feet down. Take the towel up from underneath your head. It's okay because we're lifting the hips up. Make sure you take a moment to re-roll your towel. You had it unrolled a little bit. It's a good position under the head. And then we're going to place the towel perpendicular to the hips. Arms still on the sides. Feet hip width distance apart. Take an inhale and exhale. Gently roll through the spine. Take the hips up glide that towel underneath them, and then let the low back soften into that hammock shape that we talked about earlier when we were in our big chest opener. But now our chest just gets to be heavy, shoulders nice and stabilized. The neck should be free and loose. Just rock your head a little side to side and make sure you're not holding any tension. And stretch the jaw. That's one of the things the yawn does. It stretches the jaw and the chest. So maybe fake yawn, and then you might actually end up actually yawning. It's such a big movement for your face muscles, the throat, the neck, the chin. Hopefully that was nice. Stretch and you feel good and loose afterwards. And then from here, you're going to pick the right ankle up and place it on the left knee. And then just use the left knee, like I had a little searchlight on the ceiling, and draw a little circle on the ceiling with the left knee. What you're really doing is using that left knee as an engine to drive the right femur head and hip socket around in the circle and get a little stretch without really overdoing anything. So I lifted the left foot off the floor. And then I'm doing the little circles there. That feels like too much work. Then just drop the legs into the chests. Get super passive here. And then you can come into a little side to side rock. One side and then the other. Pause in the center. Maybe take the top leg up to the ceiling, get a little stretch, and then unwind your right leg. We'll shake those muscles, let go, and then we'll switch sides. So your left ankle comes onto your right knee. Check in. Notice if your shoulders are kind of binding up, if the ribs are trying to lift up to the ceiling, if your low back is trying to arch, or if the towel's not in the right place. Make any adjustments you need to so that you can be nice and relaxed and long through the back side of the body. And then the left ankle comes to the right knee. You lift that right foot off and you just do a little circle here. Like it is. Searchlight, headlamp, on the right knee. And go the other way. And then go ahead and let the legs fall all the way into the chest as far as they'll go. And then take your, oh, and I was going to say, come side to side. Side to side rock is really nice. It actually stretches the outside of the hip quite a bit. Good. And then pause and center. Stretch that top leg out nicely. The length in the hamstring, and then we'll place it on the floor. Unwind the left leg and give it a shake. And shake. And shake. Easy down. And release. Right. So now you're going to slide the hands down to the hips. Lift your hips up. Take the towel from underneath you. Set the towel to the side. And then bring your arms up overhead, keeping those hips lifted. Do a nice stretch here. Inhale. And then exhale. Imagine you're hanging from a monkey bar and just drag that tailbone down the long. Getting some traction through the spine. Tucking the tail. Not being in a hurry to place your spine down. One vertebra at a time. Bring it all the way down to the end. Stretch your legs out. Maybe release your arms down by your sides. Just take some pressure off the shoulders and then come into the knees. Good. And take a pause. We're going to end today in Supta Baddha Konasana. So you bring your blocks in along the sides, up on their medium setting. Soles of the feet together. Tip your blocks in. Support the legs so that they can just rest into the blocks and let yourself melt into this shape. Closing the eyes, softening the back side of the body into the floor. This is a situation where if you feel like the ribs are trying to push themselves up to the ceiling, you can't relax your spine. Put a little, unroll the towel just a little bit and put the towel roll at the base of the head, right? This is different than the opening movement we did where it was in curve of the neck. This is really at the base of the skull. Be a little Goldilocks about it, so shift around as much as you need to get settled. Find that nice place. Just drop the weight down. And soften into the floor. Trying to let the chest be heavy, the hips be heavy. And then drop the weight down. Having this nice, deep, even breaths here. Good. Come out of this. Start by just moving the head gently side to side. See if you can do this with ease. So if you lost some of the tightness in the neck, maybe with some more fluid motion there, we can always hold. And then we'll land center with the head. I'm going to take one block out and extend the leg. Take another block out and extend another leg. And then just rock your legs in and out. Toes go towards and away from each other. Different kind of heel rock. This one's not so much full body, it's more full leg. Just get those legs soften up and find some ease in hip sockets there. And then center. Bend one knee. And then just roll over towards the side of your extended leg. Bending both knees and coming to resting on your side here. Let's take an unhurried moment to find a soft rest on your side here. And trying to lengthen the muscles in the back. Draw the abdominals in, soften the ribs a little bit. And then we're going to extend your top leg as you push down into the floor and gently press yourself up. Whew. Welcome back. We did it. I'm going to pause our recording here and have a quick check-in, see how you're feeling.